23-year-old Mark has always dreamed of wowing audiences across the world with his vocal athletics, but will facing the X Factor judges prove a hurdle he cannot overcome?
What's your name?
Mark.
Penelope?
No, Mark.
From Barcelona.
No, what on earth gave you that impression?
Barcelona. Barcelona.
Okay, Penelope.
What's your ambition?
To continue to be gay.
Oh, like a Cliff Richard thing.
I get it.
And what do you work at, Mark?
I'm a student.
Why are you here?
Well, I want to do my parents proud. You see, in 2011, my mother died of brain cancer.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was horrible. And then in 2015, my father died. So, yeah, in the last 5 years, I've lost both of my parents.
That's 4 a month.
My dad actually committed suicide.
That's entertainment.
Never heard anything more boring in my life.
I'd say it was more traumatic than boring. I've set up a charity in my late parents' name. I've got some information on it and some photos of my parents.
Come on, Simon, just put it.
Hang on a minute, just to clear this up.
The charity actually helps out with LGBT issues, because I'm gay.
Sharon.
Yeah, I think we should really let Louis have his moment.
Okay, off you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mark Bittlestone.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks. I'm Mark, and the only 3 things you need to know about me are: number 1, I'm gay; number 2, I'm an orphan; and number 3, I was once joint 9th in the world at Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun SingStar Pop Edition on the PlayStation 3. Thank you. Now, obviously, you wouldn't wish those things on anyone, and I certainly wouldn't recommend any of them. But I'm here. Over the next hour to show you ways in which they can be funny. Because if you can't laugh, what can you do? Now, that's my way of telling you that if you don't laugh many times over the next hour, you're condemning me to a joyless existence with nothing but the harsh realities of my own dreadful life for company.
That's a good point.
It's going to be a long run. Now, as you just saw, I auditioned for the X Factor, and the judges found my sob story hilarious, so I thought you would too. But I realised when I was writing this show that I couldn't talk exclusively about being a gay orphan, because it might make some of you feel uncomfortable. Oh, poor you. An hour for you, a lifetime for me. So, I will squeeze this monkey to indicate that light observational humour is coming up. Even though being gay and being an orphan are the only 2 things about me, I haven't forgotten the old showbiz rule, keep it light. So here goes. When you're not out, you're often referred to as being in the closet. Which makes me wonder, how would someone in Narnia come out as gay? Great. That's the light observational section of the show over. Notice that because I'm gay, even my light observational humour is about being gay. Can't get away from it. But my co-directors advised me that once I've done a lovely light piece like that, I should warn you that it's about to get heavy again. So every time I talk about coming out as gay, you'll hear this sound. And every time I talk about my parents dying, you'll hear this sound. That's right, you'll hear that sound every time I talk about my parents dying. There it goes again. I'm going to have to be very careful what I say. On the off chance that I do talk about being gay, I don't really want to hear that sound every time I talk about being that. So I've got an idea. Why don't we come up with a different word for being that together as an audience? So just shout out suggestions. Homophobic as you like.
Mark!
Yes, that's my name, and I am gay. Brilliant. What about you, sir? You look like a homophobe. Come on. What have you got?
Not homophobic.
As homophobic as
A fruit.
I'd say that's a bit over the line. So something a bit milder, please.
A bent man.
Right. Okay. We'll go with that. So, on the off chance that I talk about being a bent man, at the same time as I talk about those dead idiots, you'll hear the following mashup. But back to coming out as gay. Great. When I first joined university, still going. When I first joined university, I was actually in the closet. I did actually have a girlfriend in first year, which is amazing. She's in. I did actually have a girlfriend in first year, which is amazing when I look back now as an A-grade pufter. We did have sex, but it was terrible.
Define sex!
Has anyone ever tried pushing jelly through a letterbox?
Yes!
Good, me neither, I was just checking. But back to the point, I couldn't achieve an erection. When I first came out as gay, a friend of mine texted me saying, apparently you're a bender. Apparently I chuckled as I masturbated to his Facebook photos. My own brother didn't believe I was gay, even after he met my boyfriend. What? Not every story can be hilarious. Some of them have to be true. Okay, I get it. You want a proper coming out story. Well, I don't actually have one, so we'll have to make one up. This is the annoying thing about being gay. Everyone wants it to be awful, like you, and therefore entertaining. So here goes. How I Came Out as Gay to My Brother by Mark Bittlestone, or Batty Stone, as he cruelly referred to me thereafter. It was a cold January morning, which was really sad because the cold meant that my bumhole was as tight as the leather trousers I had, of course, insisted upon wearing. I had been bullied mercilessly for wearing these trousers, you'll be pleased to hear. Because my anus was so tight, my plan of convincing my brother of my horrible and dreadful sexuality by showing him how loose my anus was from sex was frustrated. I had, therefore, to rely upon oral evidence. If you take the word evidence and replace it with the word sex, you'll have something I have become proficient at administering to men by this point. By oral evidence, I of course mean words which can hurt when homophobists say them to you over and over again, you'll be glad to hear. I'm gay, I said to my brother. He was so disgusted that he murdered both of our parents. know why you're laughing. No, that's a fictional story, of course. But when you're in the closet, particularly, a big way gay guys date is via Grindr. And aged about 20 or so, I put myself on Grindr, and the average message I would receive was from a guy in his 40s or 50s with an accompanying photo of an old sagging dick and balls, and a message like, wanna suck it, or looking for a daddy, son. No. I can see it contains some of the buzzwords, but it's the wrong context. The first Grindr date I went on was with a Spanish guy called Marcos, and we went to a... that's not a joke. And we went to a Wetherspoons in Putney, in southwest London, and he said to me, "You're so beautiful, Mark, you look like you're 12. And I replied, "Thanks, Marcos. I'm not 12, I'm 21. Alarmingly, he pretended not to have heard. "How's school?" he asked. "No, university," I corrected. "No school. It has to be school," he said, looking imploringly down at his own crotch, as if expecting something to happen. "Hey, Mark, you want to come back to mine? I have a flat in Roehampton." Now, just as he pretended not to have heard that I was 21, I pretended not to have realised that he was a paedophile. And so went back to his. "What? Sometimes when you're in a dry spell, you've got to drink your own piss." We'll let that one go. So I was back at his, and it was all going well. Oral sex and the like. When suddenly Marcos's roving hands found my buttocks and slapped them. "No, that's my bum!" I cried. This was too much, too soon. I threw my clothes on and sprinted downstairs, narrowly escaping being assaulted by a Rottweiler, which knew I was a homo, so chased after me in order to kill me. I fled home on foot in the rain. Slap, slap, slap went the sound of my Nike trainers on the wet pavement. A sound which reminded me of the slap, slap, slaps Marcos's gnarled hand had administered to my bottom. It was then that I realised that being gay was hard. And being hard is a feature of being gay, because there are men around you all the time. Like now. Didn't play ball. But I think one reason I was able to masquerade as a straighto for so long is because I do a lot of things that supposedly pertain to the straight male sphere, like football, rugby, lager beer. I even follow a Premier League club. I go to the football to watch the goals, the tackles, and of course the players' bulging penises. "Did you see that cross?" my brother would ask. "No, because I've gone cross-eyed trying to bring the outline of Harry Kane's cock into sharper focus," I will reply, pushing my opera glasses closer to my face. Speaking of cock, over Christmas I went for a sexual health checkup. I'm clean, you'll be pleased to hear. You won't be catching gonorrhea from me. And by gonorrhea, I do of course mean AIDS. I don't know if any of you have ever been for a sexual health checkup. I'm assuming you have. Sorry, that was mean. But there's an implicit sense of criminality whenever you walk in the door, particularly if you say that you're a man who has sex with men. Immediately after I said this, the nurse's eyebrows raised, and she said, "Ah, that puts you right in the danger zone." As a flash, I replied, "Ha! Just like Kenny Loggins." But she said, "You should get yourself checked out for hepatitis B." My favourite of all the tests was the anal swab. The nurse looked at me and said, "I would tell you how to do this, but I probably don't need to, do I?" So, like a pro, I took the swab and rammed it down the hole at the end of my penis. She was thrilled to have such a good pupil. I didn't actually come out as gay until I was 21, and I never got the opportunity to tell my parents. Just remind you of that one in case you've forgotten. But I think, looking back, there were plenty of warning signs. For a start, as I mentioned, I was once joint 9th in the world at Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun Sing Star Pop Edition on the PlayStation 3. Hardly a heterosexual calling card. What else? I used to masturbate over pictures of other men. Apparently a biggie. I used to love jam. I used to have hot cross buns with jam. I know. I once videotaped over my brother's VHS recording of Match of the Day with Legally Blonde. Good to see. Legally Blonde is about a blonde woman. Match of the Day is about football. You do the social and cultural mathematics. But joking aside, I think my parents probably guessed I was gay. And one anecdote stands head and shoulders above the rest. I was about 8 years old, and I put on a fashion show for my parents, in which I pretended to be Miss T, and I forced my brother to pretend to be Miss Dynamite, and we put on my mum's outfits and walked up and down the corridor singing "Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?" Isn't that a lovely, what an adorable domestic theme, I really say. I'm sorry to inform you that there was a dark undercurrent swirling beneath this adorable scene. I think in that moment, as I walked up and down the corridor, for my father, it was as though the right heel, hanging from my foot, had come down hard upon the fragile head of my first child, which hadn't yet been born, which would never be born the normal way, because my stiletto heel had punctured its head with a crunch of brains and bones and blood. The blood ran down the walls in straight lines, longer even than the list of potential surrogates I would one day have to make. That the lines were straight and I perhaps was not, was a further distress for my father. With my next little step, splat went the second child, my heel snagging on its guts and stringing them along the corridor like red tape is strung between unfulfilled gay couples and potential adoptive children. I came to the end of the hallway and tossed my head back, just like models do. But my father didn't notice. All he saw was my stilettoed heel, stomping on the artery of his bloodline, blocking its flow forever. It's all true. But I realised I was attracted to males at the age of 14. Not all males, you understand. Could you stand up, please, sir? Yeah, not you.
He's not gay. He's not gay.
But because no one told me it was okay to be gay, I hid this until the age of 21. Great. I tell you who's definitely still hiding it, and that's Louis Walsh. I turned on X Factor the other day to see him describing the boy band in his group. These guys, they've got the voice, they've got the talent, but most of all, they've got the look. The girls are going to be all over them. Yeah, they can get you off first, sorry. I often like to imagine Louis vigorously propounding his heterosexuality in everyday scenarios. Louis in a coffee shop. Can I get a cappuccino, please, Governor? Oh, regular or large? Heterosexual. Louis on politics. IRA, more like I aren't gay. Louis in the Carphone warehouse. Oh, we've got Samsung, we've got Huawei, we've got Apple. Yeah, have you got anything with a massive vagina on it? Now, after that gay section, it's time for a change of tack. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to wee when you're at a urinal and somebody's watching you? Great. But interestingly, I've actually never found it difficult to poo. Lucky you, I hear you say. You'd be wrong, because I actually find it far, far too easy to poo in situations that don't call for it. Like, for example, when I'm not sitting on the toilet, or when there are clothes between my bum and the ground. At the beginning of last term, I was in a club in Cambridge, and a friend told me a joke, and I laughed, and then I shat myself. What was even more worrying about this was how calm I was throughout. I turned to my friend, finished laughing, and said, I just shat myself. Undeterred, however, I went to the toilets, wiped, cleaned and dried my bum, threw my boxes in the bin and rejoined the fray. I think the reason I was so calm is because this wasn't the first time it had happened. Earlier on in the summer, I had opened the heavy back door of Pembroke College, and in an equal and opposite reaction, my back door opened, and I shat myself. Yeah. You'll be pleased to know that's the shit section of the show over. It used to be 10 minutes, it's been trimmed down to 4. Yippee. The combination of repressed homosexuality and anger following my mother's death. Yeah, I know. And you thought your life was shit. Anyway, the combination of those two made it seem reasonable to me that I make other people's lives as miserable as my own. How could someone like me, who's known true suffering by random acts of God, cancer, sexuality, there being 8 people in the world better at Cyndi Lauper, how could someone who's known terrible, true suffering like this possibly want to inflict it on others? Well, I reasoned my way out of this by rationalising that I was just doing God's work. And I decided pretty early on at university that God hated my friend Spence.
Bastard!
Now, one thing I learned early on at university is that comments about people's appearance are particularly successful, and that repetition is the key to their success. For this reason, I repeatedly comment on how Spence's hands look like raw chicken. And as you can see, they do. I spread a series. You've got horrible hands, mate. I spread a series of rumours about Spence around college. The first rumour I spread was that he was virulently anti-Semitic, and that he blamed his 2-1 in his first year examinations on world Jewry. The second rumour I spread was that he wasn't allowed within 100 yards of the Lee's school because I had caught him peering over the playground during playtime. The third rumour I spread was that he was secretly sending love letters to Ian Brady, one of the mall's murderers. Yep. Now I hear you say, these don't sound believable, Mark. You've either made them up or no one believed them. Well, I have some evidence for you because I always keep tabs on my friends, and I actually hacked Spence's computer and managed to find this footage. Genuine footage. But I realise I've been prevaricating a bit, and I haven't really spoken about my parents' death. The crows, eh? My mum died in April 2011 after having been diagnosed with brain cancer 12 months earlier. In the words of my brother, oh, that's a bummer. Little did he know he was standing next to a real bummer at the time. I thought to myself, this is the perfect moment to come out by pointing this out. But you don't know my family. Oh, Mark's just come out as gay. We should talk about that for 5 minutes until one of us dies. But I remember the exact moment my mum died. I was revising for my A-levels, which were 8 days away, and Nicola walked into my room. That's my sister Nicola, not Nicola Sturgeon. That'd be weird. Hey Mark, by the way, your mummy's popped our clothes. Got us all grist to the mill. We'll make Scotland bigger, better and bolder without them. No idea what that's doing in the show. Anyway, my sister walked into my room and I said, "Fuck off, Nicola. I'm doing some integration. You need to fuck right off." And she burst into tears, and I thought, "Fucking hell, love. You're not the one who has to do the exam. Chill out." But she just said, "No, Mum's dead." I didn't really see what this had to do with my upcoming maths A-level, so I told her to leave the room. How foolish I was. What should be the first question when I open my maths paper a week later but Yazib has just been told by his mother, Yao Lin, that his father, Chief Running Horse, has died, plotting Yazid's grief along the x-axis and his repressed homosexuality along the y-axis. Calculate the integral of the curve and thus work out the academic success of Yazid's sister, Nicole Kidman, over the next 4 years. Now, I actually always keep my exam papers. So I've got my annotations here. So obviously here is where Yazid comes out as gay. That's obvious. Repressed homosexuality comes crashing down. This one's clear as well. The father, Chief Running Horse, dies. This one is a bit more bizarre. I hypothesised that Yazid's mother was petrified at losing the patriarch in the family, so forced Yazid back into the closet. repressed homosexuality rises. At this point, Yazid, in his murderous rage, killed his mother, Yao Lin. However, this is a classic EdXL curved ball, because the period we're interested in is 2012 to 2016. So this is interesting, but ultimately irrelevant. The area we're interested in is to the left, which is Nicole Kidman's academic success. And there she is. Thanks, Nicole. After 4 years of grief-induced psychotic depression, lol. Now, after 4 years of grief-induced psychotic depression, my father committed suicide in April 2015. This time, 3 weeks before my finals. And all I could think was, fucking hell. Fuck, why don't you just die at more convenient times? How hard is it just to wait until I finish my fucking exams? In hindsight, though, I was too harsh on the old man. His final thoughts were, without exception, of advice and encouragement concerning my finals. I know this because his suicide note read, "Good luck, son. Read the question and do get a good night's sleep before the exam." This was crucial advice. Without having been told to read the question and to avoid bad sleep in the run-up to my examinations, I wouldn't have got the double first I went on to achieve. So at least that means that my father's suicide was definitely worth it. Thanks, Dad. But my father actually went to Cambridge in the early 70s. And he was a clever guy, and he was into theatre as well, but in a weird, techie way. Sorry, Jamie. And amazingly, he actually redesigned the lighting system in this very playroom. Looking up at that rig now and knowing what I know about my father's intellect, it seems amazing to me that it can support the fruit of my dad's genius. Then again, I would have doubted that the shower rail in our house could support the weight of my dad's lifeless body. And I certainly would have been wrong about that. How far can you go? We got all night. Since my father's death in 2015, I completed my first master's in business management, and I'm currently halfway through my second in film and screen studies. Great. I'm glad neither of those got a laugh. They are both genuine degrees. And I've been to counselling, and I've been on antidepressants. I'm glad neither of those got a laugh either. They are both genuine treatments for guilt. Grief, rather. Take them for guilt if you want. But mostly, I've just been great, and I have loads of lived experience, which is fantastic. I've recently written a play about my experiences, and I showed it to a straight parented friend, and he said, "Oh, Mark, that is brilliant. That is I'm so jealous you came up with that. You know what I might ask my parents for Christmas? Yeah, Mum and Dad, I know I said I wanted clothes for Christmas, but it's just that ADC applications are opening soon, and I've got a play in the works, and would it be too much to ask both of you to die in tragic circumstances? It can be for Christmas and birthday." Now, I'm sure at this point in the show, some of you are thinking, this guy needs to see a counsellor. I don't know if any of you have been for counselling before. I assume a few of you have. You look like a bunch of freaks. But in counselling, they use a technique called holding space, which is where they don't say anything, and they just expect you to talk out your problems. Unfortunately, whenever I went to counselling, I would just end up speaking complete bullshit. Let me give you an example. Do you feel angry about your father's death? No, actually, no. I'm sort of at peace with it. No. Yes? Apoplectic. Oh, I'd like to wring his neck if the noose hadn't got there first. Bloody noose! That's that one. Sure. But I actually do occasionally like telling people that my parents are dead. No kidding, I hear you say. Because it gives me all the... you alright? Someone's had a bit too much. Not of alcohol, of the grief-related humour. Or indeed guilt-related humour. Anyway, I actually sometimes really enjoy telling people that my parents are dead because it gives me all the cards in that situation. One of the classic stock responses is, of course, I'm so sorry. I like to reply, you should be, you murdered them. People are, understandably, often at a bit of a loss as to how to reply. I didn't is always a reassuring answer. I have known people to panic, though, and repeat the phrase, I'm so sorry. Very highly concerning. But yeah, I know people find it controversial to sort of laugh about death. And it gets me frustrated sometimes because, I'm allowed to cry about it, but whenever I laugh about it, people are like, oh, you're literally shitting on your parents' graves. Which is ironically something I can imagine happening. Accidentally, sure. But I know people find it controversial, but controversy equals interest, and interest equals ticket sales. So I asked my co-director, Will Dalrymple, who's a lot funnier than me, to write the blurb for my show. Working with Will Dalrymple again, are we, Mark? I smell nepotism. Hardly surprising, we are in a CUADC licensed venue. That's a good joke! Anyway, I asked him to write the blurbs for the show, and he did so. And I assume some of you read it and thought, oh, Mark, that's a bit harsh, a bit sharp, a bit close to the bone. If you thought the blurb was close to the bone, here are some taglines I had to reject. Pity laughs. Mark Bittlestone's parents never lived to discover their son was gay. At least someone was spared the embarrassment. Pity laughs. Mark Bittlestone lost his mother and father at a young age. Some people have all the luck. Oh wait, no they don't. He's also gay. Pity laughs. It's said that we all turn into our parents eventually. This is especially true of Mark Bittlestone, who will, of course, someday be a corpse.
That's right.
In you come. You've arrived at a bit of a stonker. With no context, pity laughs. In 2014, Mark Bittlestone came out as gay. But before Mark could die of AIDS, his father died of suicide. How's that for competitive? Or my personal favourite, pity laughs. And you thought your parents were dead. Dad! Dad, is that you? Are you talking to me? Dad, is that you? Dad?
No, it's me. Parents still dead, Mark. 30 minutes. Still dead.
thought we would move on to some lighter reading at this point, and talk you through some of the songs you no doubt heard in the pre-state. You might have heard this one.
When you walk through a storm.
You'll Never Walk Alone by Jerry and the Pacemakers. Not selected because I have any affinity with Liverpool Football Club. Now, I selected this because it's a lie, because I'm gay and an orphan, and therefore I'm very much alone. You may have also heard this one. Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry. Not selected because I'm gay and therefore I don't need a woman. No. I selected No Woman, No Cry because the proximity of the words man and cry remind me of the only two things in my life, being attracted to men and crying over my dead parents. While the repetition of the word no, used twice in the title, is the resounding answer I receive when I ask the question, am I straight and do I have parents? Finally, you might have heard this. Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. Not selected because I've been running from my sexuality for most of my adult life. Absolutely not. I selected Born to Run, or Bjorn to Run, I should say, because Björn Ulvaeus is one of the male members of ABBA, a gay icon. And 2 is the exact number of parents I don't have. Now, I'm sure the sharp-eared amongst you picked up on the fact that there are 9 letters in the title Born to Run. Yes, exactly half the number of months since the 3-month anniversary of my dad's death. Well done. In addition, my father was also born, which is ironic because he later died. Finally, the word run sounds an awful lot like the word rum, which is a key ingredient in the cocktail Dark and Stormy. Because I'm gay, I like cock, while my tail is very sad. Put them together and what have you got? Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Oh, my life is sad. It makes sense if you think about it. The only really good thing that has come out of this tragedy is it's brought my siblings and I really close together. Much like 9/11 brought the Twin Towers even closer together than they ever have been before. Admittedly, in a new and innovative configuration. I think my parents would be proud of what I've become. I often speak to them in my head, and which is a bit like talking to them in person, except better because, you know, if they disagree with you, you can just shut it down. So, for example, I'll be like, should I go on a 3-day holiday to Berlin? And my mum will be like, no, you shouldn't. You don't have any income. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, what am I thinking? You're dead. You don't have an income. Fuck off. It's funny what memories come back to you and in what order. My mum was sort of health obsessed. She used to jog 3 times a week rather. She used to jog 3 times a week, even into her late 50s. She barely drank, she had a really good diet. She even put on sun cream in winter in England. Well done, Mum, you stopped the skin cancer. Wish you could have worn brain cream. Now, I do realise it's all getting a bit dead parenty. Like my life. But while life imitates art, there's no reason for the inverse to happen. So I thought we could have a quick jokey joke, if you will. So here goes. Whenever I'm in the university library, I get the sudden urge to do a dump, somewhere obscure like the North Front, floor 5. If any of you aren't aware, floor 5 is the home of sociology, so I can be sure that my shit will go unnoticed among the piles of it already there. It's great. I was going to rip it up, but whatever.
Mark, it's been 93 seconds since you mentioned the death of your parents. Just wanted to remind, they're dead. No, the two of them.
You probably all realise by this stage in the show that I don't really care what other people think about me, because life's too short, although it isn't for other people's parents. A quick disclaimer, if any of you have suffered parental bereavement, keep it to yourself, no one cares. What tonight has been for me is an exercise in manipulating my grief for the purposes of comedy. But in the past, my purposes were somewhat simpler. When my dog died, I made my friend buy me a dairy milk. And when my mother died, I demanded a milk tray. In my head, my mother has just registered her indignation at only costing my friend £3.90 more than my dog. Sorry. But yeah, I don't really, I don't really care, to be honest, what other people think about me. And this is really great at sort of Christmas and birthdays, sort of festive occasions. I'll say to my friend, what did your parents get you for Christmas? And they'll be like, a watch or something. And I'll be like, oh, well, that's lovely. My parents didn't get me anything because they're dead. But that's okay because I got myself something. Oh, well, what did you get yourself? I got myself a camera. Yes, it's really nice. It's got lots of buttons, like the suit my father was buried in. That's probably the most unnecessary joke in the show. Not by much, but by I also have a lot of surrogate mothers who are close friends of parents or mums of close friends. And they really enjoy mothering me. And I really enjoy fucking them. I mean fucking with them. You're gay! Go suck a cock! Interestingly, I did a control find on the Google Doc for my show the other day. The word gay appears 43 times. The word die appears 46 times. The word dead, 72. Which means there's plenty more to come. But yeah, I don't really care what other people think about me. And I'll often go round to these sort of surrogate mothers for dinner. And it'll be, lasagna or something. And I'll well up and say something like, my mum used to cook lasagna. Or indeed, I will hand them the plate at the end of the meal, stare longingly into their eyes and go, thanks, Mum. I also do a great line in deliberately misunderstanding my circumstances. So a friend will sort of call me up and say, all right, Mark, do you want to spend Christmas Day at ours? And I'll be like, why? Because I'm gay. Actually, the reverse is a lot funnier. Someone will message me on Grindr saying, wanna fuck? And I'll be like, why? Because my parents are gay. I often like to compare myself to the only orphan in the world gayer than me, Harry Potter. I often imagine what a gay Hogwarts would be like, and because I think exclusively in stereotypes, it goes a bit like this. If Hogwarts was for gays, everyone would be in Slytherin. The Sorting Hat was founded 1,000 years ago along with Hogwarts, and unfortunately too, so was its politics. Imagine potions class. Snape, I'm so sorry, I put vodka instead of lacing flies in my cauldron. And Sycamore sap does look an awful lot like Cointreau. And what I thought was dragon's blood turned out to be cranberry juice. Does this potion have a name, Potter? I don't know, but I do know that it's Cosmo Clark. It's not all plain sailing, though. Every time you get out the Marauder's map, Dumbledore pops up saying, "Wanna suck it?" Meanwhile, overheard at the Triwizard Tournament, don't ask me why, but there's a reason I call him Cedric Biggory. Other more obvious name changes, Hermione Ganger, Dolores Bumbridge, Madam Gooch, Cornelius Fudgepacker, Dilderoy Cockhart, Bumdungus Felcher, Remus Poopin, Xenophilius Shovewood up my bum, and of course, Professor Minerva McGobbleballs. But I first made the comparison a few years ago when I was watching The Order of the Phoenix, and it's straight after Professor Umbridge has just tortured Harry, and Ron exhorts him to tell someone, saying, what if the parents knew? And Harry, quick as a flash, replies, "Well, I don't have those, do I, Ron?" Which is funny, because that's exactly what I would do in that situation. Before demanding that Ron buy me a chocolate frog, even though I know he's poor. Okay, Ron, you may only have 5 sickles in your Gringotts account, but I've not got 2 parents to rub together. Next time I'll just end that on the poor line. But after that happy section, the title of the next section is funerals. Funerals are obviously a weird time. The first funeral I ever attended was for my class gerbils. Credit to God, he got me on funerals early. Thanks, God. Thanks a lot. But the gerbils were lent out to students on a fortnightly rotating basis. And obviously, when they were under my care, they died. And my siblings and I held a little service for them, and I made a cross, and my sister sang "Morning Has Broken." The next day, I woke up, and my dog had dug up their bodies, eaten the flesh, and dragged their bones across my front garden. Hang on, sorry, I got that mixed up. That was my parents' funeral. Talk about give a dog a bone. Not that bone, Fido, that's my mother's femur. Sure. The next funeral I attended was for my grandfather, and he died of a heart failure. But my brother Matt lied to me and told me that he had choked to death on a salmon bone. That's actually true. It's a bizarre thing to lie about. The next funeral I attended was for my mum, and just before the coffin was brought in, my brother went to the loo and managed to spray water all over his genital area, which was highly embarrassing for him. Not spraying water. The reason it was embarrassing is the reason it was so visible, because he was wearing a white suit. I thought to myself, Matt, this is hardly the time to wear your summer wardrobe. That's the punchline of the funeral section. Yes, I thought so too. Thanks. I often get concerned sometimes at how deranged and evil my own thought process is. Because not having parents is sort of my thing. I will regularly find myself getting annoyed if I find out that a close friend has lost a parent. I'll extend to them all the normal platitudes, but inwardly I'm going, how fucking dare you. This is my thing, you've crossed the line, buddy. I often think about making a club called the I Have a Dead Parent Club, or the I Get Whatever I Want for Christmas Club. But then I would make a new, more elite spin-off club called the I Have Two Dead Parents Club, or the I Get Myself Whatever I Want for Christmas Club. That's just sad. And my new club would go out of its way to make life miserable for the half-bloods. By spreading slanderous rumours like, his dad was old anyway. Or to be quite frank, the silly woman shouldn't be driving after a white wine spritzer. I do actually have some close friends who have lost a parent. And I'm genuinely dreading the day I get a phone call to say that their other parent has died. Not because that would be sad, because it wouldn't, but because then I wouldn't be guaranteed the presidency of my club. Obviously, I jest. My presidency would be assured. Hi mate, I'm really sorry to hear about what's happened. But by the way, if you are thinking of running for president, yeah, it's just that we sort of have a no death by car crash policy. And you've sort of run out of parents to die. So I guess it's another 4 years for me. Sort of topical presidency-related humour. I thought at this late stage in the show I would explain the menagerie that surrounds me. Obviously the gravestones speak for themselves. This is a fountain of my tears. Unfortunately, though, we used PVA glue and it didn't quite dry in time, so it looks like someone's jizzed on me. Or it could be a metaphor for the show, all of you creaming yourself at my grief. This is the telephone on which I received the news that my mother had cancer. And this was the telephone on which I received the news that I was gay. This is the telephone on which I received the news that my father had died. Isn't it amazing how quickly technology improves? This is the typewriter which the coroner used to, my parents' coroner that is, to type the words, "These people are definitely dead, Mark." He was a good bloke. And this, well, fuck. Holy, that's so embarrassing. I've been misleading you this entire time. I can't believe it. Because my parents weren't really buried at all. They were cremated. As you can probably tell by the sound effect. At this point in the show, now we're coming towards the end, I should probably say some apologies. First of all, to Spence. You may be an anti-Semitic, chicken-fingered paedophile, but you're a bloody good bloke. And second of all, to my parents. Mum and Dad, I'm so sorry that I'm gay, but there's nothing I can do about it. And finally, obviously, to you, for having to put up with the offensiveness, extremity and harshness of this frankly hateful show. It isn't your fault that I lack the skill as a comedian to convey these delicate issues with a tad more nuance. But then again, it is an hour for you. It has been a lifetime for me. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to apologise. Spence, I'm sorry mate, but you're just a nonce. Mum, Dad, I like cock. Get over it. And frankly, I don't really give a fuck what any of you think, because at the end of the day, all the proceeds from this show are going to charity. realised I missed an excellent joke in the show, so I'm going to do that now. I find it really annoying when you know, close friends or parents you know, get upset or awkward or sad around me when they bring up my parents' death. As if a straight-acting gay like me would ever show any emotion. That's the joke. But most of you, probably all of you, will be pleased to know that the jokes have come to an end. This is the end of the show, and I thought just briefly I would deliver a quick author's message, because if any show needs one, it's probably this. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, particularly those of you who know me well, you know, Mark, why this? Yeah. You know, if you've got to do an hour, why don't you just do it about student life in Cambridge or tractors or anything? Don't do it on this. And here's why, really. I know I said at the beginning of the show that I was going to try and show you ways in which my circumstances can be funny. And if any of you have laughed, and some of you have, hopefully that shows that they can be. And you'll forgive me for trying to pretend for at least an hour that they are. But obviously, to be quite honest, they haven't been. And I know I'm incredibly fortunate in a lot of respects, but they haven't been funny. Being gay is hard, even here, and not being able to have biological children with the person you love is sad, for me, on a personal level. And watching your mum slowly lose her faculties until she can't even recognise you is devastating. And then to lose your dad 4 years later because he can't live without her is even more devastating. And I wanted to do a solo hour because I enjoy making people laugh. And I sat down and I tried to write normal jokes, but I couldn't, because I realised that being gay and not having parents is a crucial part of my identity, and to be honest, the key feature of my life for the last 5 years. And I can cry about it, but I'm never going to be straight, and I'm never going to see my parents again. And I can try and make you laugh about it, but no amount of laughing or crying is ever going to drown out the only two things that matter about me. Actually, I've been misleading you slightly. There are three. And the third isn't that I was once joint knights in the world at Cindy Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Although that is true, for the record. I first realised it on the reading of my parents' wills. That's right, number 3 in the list of me. I'm pretty wealthy now. I guess it's not all bad. Cheers, Padres! Thanks for dying!
Some boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world. I wanna be the one to walk in the sun. Oh, girls just wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have, that's all they really want. Just fun when the working day is done. Oh, girls just wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have, girls just wanna have, girls just wanna have, girls just wanna have fun.
What does your girlfriend do when you do that?
I'm gay. I'm attracted to men.
It's about as bad as it can possibly get.
You look great, but you sound awful.
No, you need a helpline. Who did you sing this song to before you got here today?
My late parents, in spirit.
What did they say?
Nothing, they're dead.
They said it was good.
No, they're dead.
What's the problem?
Me, okay?
Whatever.
Your truth.
Bye,
Your
Penelope.
Try.
Shut up. Shut up.
thanks so much for coming, everyone. Just so you know, the proceeds from this show will be going to the charities Just Like Us, which talks about LGBT plus issues in schools, and Cancer Research UK. And I'll be going to the bathhouse for a couple of pints if anyone wants to join. Thanks, guys.
I'm not even strange.